we've spoke about it, that we're going to do a couple of episodes on our previous lives before the world of being superstar podcast hosts at Spotify ranking. What's the worst trade you ever saw go down?
The market is literally about to close.
Yeah.
Place is trade from. There's your deal confirmation, sir. And it had lost like 80% of its value, or maybe even more, 80, 90% overnight. So what you'd invested 80,000 quid and it was now worth like 8 grand.
Shit.
I sacked somebody for sexual misconduct. And I also remember one where I thought I was going to get knocked out. I thought I was going to get chinned. And I remember him just going and standing up really aggressively. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get knocked the fuck out of here. I hated like being involved in this world where all people care about is money at the expense of everything else. And you'd be thinking, you made 400 grand in a year and you're talking to me about 10 quid, you piece of shit. You know what I mean? And like that over time, that it's like attrition, right? It weighs you down and you think, this ain't what I want to do with my life. And that just got the better of me one day. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Josh.
And welcome back to the Breaking Bread podcast, where this week we were supposed to interview a guy that rappels down buildings and wears Kevlar and cool stuff like that, but somebody in the Breaking Bread boiler room messed the date up. So it's just Josh and I, but we're going to try and provide your brains with some nutriment.
I'm not disappointed that we don't have him, to be fair. So we initially booked Chris Ryan. You were
I was
like,
trying to be like,
who's that guy?
Subtle about it, but okay, yeah.
Well, it's fine. He might turn up and he might never. But we booked him and one thing led to another and he's not here. So I'm happy it's me and you, mate. How's tricks? You're looking nice and tanned. This hot weather's doing wonders for you.
Yeah, I'm sore. The only reason I'm tanned is because I played, and the reason I'm sore in my legs, nowhere else, is because I played this charity football tournament at the weekend.
Oh, how did it go?
It was hard work. Oh, thank you.
All right, mate.
We'll get onto the product placement in a second, I guess. But it was. I don't want to say it was a laugh. It was all for charity, right? And they raised a lot of money for a worthy cause. So I was happy to lend my limited ability to playing in the game. Yeah.
What I did notice on the lineup from the charity thing that they put out, that everybody's images, when they were saying like who's playing on these teams, everyone seemed to be wearing a professional football kit. And then there's this fucking donkey in the top right corner with a pile of food in front of him. And now I'm like, how odd does that look?
Yeah, because everyone else was an ex-professional footballer, which you can imagine was not pleasant for me, especially when I said to the guy that organised it, a guy called Danny, who has stage 4 colon cancer, but he's obviously in hospital a lot, but when he gets out of hospital, he's always doing work for charitable causes, and he asked me if I'd turn up and play in this tournament, and I couldn't say no.
Of course not. No.
But what I didn't realise is I thought, maybe there'd be a couple of other crap celebrities, like bottom of the rung public figures. But no, they were all ex-professional, and some of them Premier League players. It was like Jonathan Walters was playing, who played Stoke for the bulk of his career. Clint Hill, people like that. I mean, it's not Soccer Aid, right? There's no David Beckham, but solid professional footballers. So I just said, just put me up top somewhere. I'll just linger around. Because I always used to play like second striker or something like that. And I get there and like I got in the changing room and there's a full tactics board and everything. They've got a manager. They're taking it pretty seriously. And I see on the lineup I'm playing centre midfield, which if you don't understand football is possibly, it's the most important position on the pitch, if you ask me, and it's certainly the position where you're going to do probably most running or a lot of running.
Yeah, because you're attacking and defending, I assume. Like, I am the uninitiated. I don't know.
My testicles just kind of like retracted into my groin when I saw that. I was like, no, come on now. But I made it through. We won 2-0. So
yeah, did you score? Did you get involved in any of the scoring?
No, I didn't. I was positioned. All I wanted to do was positionally just not give up chances and stuff. But like the running.
Did you play full 90 minutes?
No, I did. I asked him to hook me after 45. I said I can't do any more, man. Like I was fully. It was hard work, but it was the point that I knew I was finished was Jonathan Walters, who only recently retired. Right, he's 38, I think, but he's still rapid because all these guys still play every week, in some capacity. And he got the ball on the break, and I was just lingering around no man's land in the middle of the pitch. I thought, right, we got like a 2-on-2 here, so I'm trying to keep up with him. And as I'm trying to keep up with him, I felt something just kind of pop in my leg. It's probably just like a minor muscular strain. And I'm like, square, John, square. So I basically got a free shot on goal, and he's a greedy bastard, so he didn't square it. And the ball just ended up going at a touch or something. That's why he played at Stoke all his career. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. He was a really nice guy, actually. He tried to de-kick me in the, I told you.
Yeah.
So I gave away a free kick Which I think it might have been the first foul of the game because this kid just went
Would you
past
just like double leg him?
pure booted him, yeah. Luckily, actually, it turned out he watched my videos because I turned around, I was laughing, and I'm turning around to shake his hand because it was at the edge of our box. I thought, he's gone past me. Right, I'll just stick a leg in. And he's on the ground. I walk over to him. He's like, fucking, he was a scouser. He's like, fucking hell, Beard's just booted me. He's fucking great, that. So he took it well. But yeah, I'm in the wall because I'm tall enough to be in a wall. But John Walters says to me, he's like, Adam, are you doing the draft excluder, or am I doing it? When if you don't know what that is, it's just this new kind of avant-garde thing in football, right? Where they lay down behind the wall. So he's just doing it as a bit of a gag, right? Because nobody really. I think in my entire life, I've probably seen 2 goals scored underneath the wall. But anyway, I said, you go down, John, because if I get down the floor, I'm not getting back up. But he went down as a bit of a gag, and as he did that, he tried to pull my shorts down, but. I defended it, about the only decent defending I did on that day, I think. But it was a good experience. Everyone was really nice, and all the pros were very. They said, well played afterwards, even though I don't think I played that well. They were very. They were kind about my contribution, I think. But it was a good day. But I'm still sore 5 days later.
Were there a big turnout in the crowd to see it?
Yeah, decent. I mean, it was only at like a local football pitch kind of thing in Wirral.
And who did you take with you? Did you take any spectators with you?
No, only Mrs. Beard.
Oh, right, okay. Bless her. You know what? She deserves a medal.
No, she took great delight in laughing at me, and especially when I couldn't walk the next morning. But yeah, it was. Is
the fundraiser still live? Can we put a link down below? I
think it was essentially like that one. There's I'll find it afterwards if you want.
If there is one, we'll link it.
Contribute to the actual foundation. It was done for, I think, the UTS Foundation in part, which they give like free physio to people. That need physio. It was mostly like an on the day thing, tickets and whatnot.
That's class, mate.
But it was.
So you don't fancy like putting the boots back on and making a regular thing of it, like a bit of five-a-side? Do we need a Breaking Bread five-a-side team? Like,
I don't know, George. Can you play? Because I know this guy can't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
I can play.
Me and George carry the team. We get Danielle in, not Danielle, Leanne in. I was confused with Michelle. It's funny you should say that because the day after. Somebody sent a message who was organising a tournament with a bunch of people from Emmerdale, but I can't play in it I could play in it, but I'm going out for a few drinks this Friday and it's on Saturday, so it's a bit short notice.
Oh wow!
So
Zach Dingle.
I won't be able to. I won't be if I'm drinking on Friday night. I won't be in any position to play football on Saturday. So
that's class that you're getting called up for. It's like this must be like the climb to get onto Soccer Aid. Like I feel like this is it.
Mate, if they offered me to do soccer, because I'm always making jokes about it, I'd have to go into training for about a month because I wasn't dog. My touch was still all right, but in terms of like my fitness, I was blowing after like about 4 minutes. I think I did 2 sprints and I was already to quit.
When is Soccer Aid? Does it do you know when it actually gets played?
I don't ask famous people to do that anyway.
I think you're famous. If I joked, I was like, I'll be your management. I'll try and get you in there.
They had that Chunks bloke on, didn't they?
Yeah.
And he missed that penalty. You wouldn't catch me missing a penalty, I'll tell you that much. Famous last words. But no, I would love to do that because I think that Emmerdale thing is at Altrincham FC, which is like a proper stadium. So
Soccer Aid's in June. It's a bit close, isn't it? I reckon they've already picked a team.
Very probably.
I think you've probably more chance next year.
Probably a good thing. I need more than a month or so. Anyway, enough about my favourite
back onto the topic of conversation for today's podcast. So I actually named this podcast Beard the Banker, and I noticed in the notes you've changed it to Beard the Wanker.
I couldn't exist. Beard the Wanker. Yeah.
So I wanted to talk. We've spoke about it that we're going to do a couple of episodes on our previous lives before the world of being superstar podcast hosts at Spotify ranking. Yeah, we're not there yet. But I think we'll start with...
We've been in the top 50 a few times.
Yeah, I think it's good going. The problem is like you've got to check it to know if you're there or not. They don't tell you.
I don't check my YouTube views.
Yeah, I don't check it. Like I don't check it either. So we might still be there. But we ain't got a Spotify deal. However, we want to touch on before your banking days, we have got a coffee company.
Despite the fact that a few weeks ago we did an episode saying we never promote stuff.
Well, I think for the most integrity that we can have behind this, we've turned down so many really shit deals, and we could pretend that we shave our balls with ball shavers and things like that. We've turned down that money in hopes that all you ever see us do on this podcast is drink coffee.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Rather than going into debt by. Do you know how much it costs for a Starbucks coffee nowadays?
Like a lot, I don't know.
I know you have like filter coffee. I might get a latte or a cappuccino. George doesn't have he'll end up with like one of them fruity drinks that you have to remortgage your house. So we thought it'd be more financially viable to actually start our own coffee company to save money.
Yeah, legit. I think I'm just associated by. You said to me, "Do you want to start a coffee company?" And I thought you were high or something. But I said, "Yeah, that sounds neat. Why not?" So we didn't we've kind of curated this, haven't we? We didn't go we didn't what's the word? We weren't airdropped into the middle of the Democratic Republic of Congo to try and to look at these beans, but we have gone through a rigorous taste testing and designing and packaging. And I say we did the taste test, then I did everything else. Are the beans actually from Congo?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, so Brazil. One's from Brazil, Congo, and Ethiopia, and then the other one's just a straight Brazil.
Congo reminds me of that. Did you ever see that movie Congo with the super intelligent apes that start killing people? No. I'm probably just too old anyway. Sorry, go on.
But yeah, I'm so chuffed with it. Like, I thought it'd be funny to call it Breaking Beans because it sounds a little bit rude and it fits the Breaking Bread brand.
Does it sound rude?
I don't know, maybe.
I like the name, dark and hairy, which doesn't make it sound like you want to drink it.
Hair's not
There's
included.
no actual hair in it. Dark and hairy, blonde and slender. You've been very very kind to yourself there, I think. If that is supposed to represent you and not George.
It's definitely for George.
We need to get a third brand for George, or third blend for George. But yeah, is this available?
It's available now. Yeah.
I've seen people opening packages of this, and I'm like, is it for sale? I thought it was still like a prototype.
The eagle-eyed viewers that may have watched the episode 2 weeks ago will have seen as we put one bag on the desk and we drank. But we didn't tell anybody. So what we did was, probably a month or two ago, I put a post out and said, look, if anybody wants to find out what's going on within the podcast before anyone else, sign up to our newsletter, which we don't have a newsletter. I just said, sign up to the newsletter and you'll be the first to hear about it. And through that one post, we got 150 people sign up.
No way.
Yeah. So they were the first people. So like a beta test, like let's see if the production process actually works where people actually receive the content. Because if we go balls out to, a few thousand people listen every week, we could fuck up really fast. So we sent it out to them. We got, a good dozen orders in. And everyone received the coffee, and we started getting compliments back, and people started like jittering on social media, and yeah, we've officially launched.
We've got. It's not. What do you say? I said it'd be a good tagline. Not the worst coffee you'll ever drink.
Yeah, so I said it's definitely not the best coffee in the world, but it's certainly not the worst. It's just I just think it's like a very nice and palatable coffee.
There's too much funky coffee out there. I think. Like sometimes if you just want a decent coffee, which isn't like there's nothing. Off the wall about it. I've got the dark and hairy one here, right?
Yeah, we're both on dark and hairy today.
I can say dark and hairy is my favorite. I like the blonde one's all right.
It's certainly not the like I said, it's certainly not the worst coffee. It's certainly not the best coffee, but as you said, there's some funky blends out there. Like I always find it really disappointing when you order sort of like an independent coffee, and it always ends up coming, and it's like they've tried to go too extreme, maybe too strong or too fruity, and it just sort of goes a bit minging.
I got one the other day. Just because I saw it and I wanted to try it. It was like an Irish coffee. I love Irish coffees, right? But this was like a ready, you just spoon it and it's supposed to taste like Irish coffee. It's fucking horrible. It tastes like plastic. But yeah, I mean, this is a half decent coffee.
So if you want a half decent coffee, this is like a Mike Widdit thing, isn't it? It's like if you want a half decent coffee, head over to breakingbreadpod.com and use Beard10 at checkout and you get 10% off.
Is that the code?
Beard10.
I am honoured.
We've got to use it.
Anyway, are we going to get past this coffee bit and what are we talking about today? Me being a banker.
Yeah, you've been a banker. Your life as a stockbroker, is that right?
Well, I worked for a stockbroker. I wasn't like Jordan Belfort or anything.
Can you explain to me what a stockbroker is?
Yeah, well, a stockbroker is somebody that brokers stock, right? So if somebody wants to purchase stock in a company, normally the term stockbroker implies that you have some advisory capacity, right? So you tell your clients what to buy.
Yeah.
Right? That's not really what it is, but that's what it implies these days. I worked for the stockbroking area of a large commercial bank in England.
Okay, so what was your role?
Well, it varies because I was there for like 10 years, but
I can't honestly, like, people are listening to this and watching. I cannot imagine you having a job.
I know I
honestly can't even.
Sorry, what are you trying to say?
Just like I know what you're like. I can't like this. You have to do what you do because you're the most unemployable person I could ever. Like, if I had to describe the most unemployable, it's fucking you right now.
The least important. No, that's just because of who I am now. I don't think I was always this way. I think, I don't really know what to say about it other than that. I worked for a bank, and then in the majority of my time there, I worked for the stockbroking department of a bank, which operated a non-advisory stockbroking service, meaning that, let's say, for example, you want to buy some shares in Apple or something like that, you would call this our company, and you would get through to somebody who was essentially in a call center of sorts, just one where you can see stock prices and stuff.
Yeah.
And you'd say, I want to buy X amount of Y, or X amount of Apple, and I would manage the team of people that placed those orders on the exchange,
right?
Which meant predominantly monitoring things not going wrong and people not losing vast sums of money because somebody has done something wrong, but also the management of people, which I hate. I don't think people should be. You know this about me. I don't think people should be managed. Not to get too socialist about it, but I hate the idea of. Of having like some overbearing. I was never an overbearing boss to people.
Yeah.
I hate the idea of even being somebody's boss. I mean, look at what I do. Can you imagine me being somebody's boss? But I had to do that, and that means you're helping people as well as more like people management than anything too technical. But it's stockbroking, so at the same time very technical.
Yeah, I imagine if it goes wrong, it can go wrong pretty fast. Although, like, how hard can it be? If it's like a stock at a price and they're like, I want £1 million worth of Apple stocks, and you go, well, £1 million is going to get you, 1,200 stocks. Is it not just like add to cart, done?
No, it's not add to cart, done. You can tell what generation you were born in. That made me sound really old. No, it's not quite that simple.
Back in my day.
Because I don't want to get into the technicalities of actually purchasing stock. It's going to bore people, but the long and short of it is when you purchase stock, you're purchasing a portion of a business, aren't you? That's essentially what stock is.
Yeah.
So it's not as simple as you just buy. It's not like buying a T-shirt or even like buying crypto or something like that. It's you have to go through market makers who set the price of a stock based on a number of factors, and you place a deal which normally goes down what they call the ATS, which is automated trading system. Because it's not like back in the old days, with sheets up in the air, like
like
buys,
a Wall Street.
Right? It's nothing like that, We weren't. What are they doing with Wall Street? Nobody was doing coke, or that I saw anyway.
Coke and hookers.
Nobody's playing 10-pin bowling with short people or whatever they do in that film. It's just a rudimentary, run of the mill. Just looks like an office, right? And then you've got. You might place a trade, but there are things that can occur in doing that which are not. It's not as simple as if you want to buy 20 quid's worth of Barclays shares now. Yeah, it's going to be easy. You could do that yourself online predominantly, but if you're going to make a larger trade, or there's some complexity to, like, say, the liquidity of a stock, if it's one that isn't often traded, it's a smaller stock, something that's like on the AIM market, which means it's not big enough to get listed on the FTSE or something like that. There are technicalities to doing it, which means you might have to speak to people.
I'm like, my head's falling off here. I don't know what you're on about.
I know, but
this is like it's like a new beard that I'm seeing. I
only know that because I'm conditioned to. I never wanted to. In fact, it was completely anathema to everything I wanted to do with my life. That's
completely what? Sorry,
against everything I wanted to do with my life. Right? So I never wanted to. I'm not a materialist, right? Never wanted to. The long and short of it was, the reason I eventually got out of doing it and wanted to get out of doing it for a long time was because you get one life, right? Unless you're a Buddhist, in which case you maybe believe in more lives.
YOLO. You should get on a t-shirt. Yeah. Tattoo. Get a tattoo on your arm.
Yeah, a tattoo that says YOLO.
Yeah.
Somebody probably has that tattoo.
100%.
But for sure,
George, you need to pull some of them up.
Probably Mike.
Bing, 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 bing.
I reckon Mike's got one of those.
Go on here, yeah.
But yeah, the idea of going to work, being chained to a desk all day long, earning money for people that only care about money. That's not what I want to do.
Didn't have much depth for you for life.
No, I was good at it. You might not believe it, but I have a strong work ethic. Even if it's something maybe I don't care about, I feel an obligation to if I'm being paid to do something right. Okay, I hated the job.
I can vouch that you definitely have got a strong work ethic. Am I right in thinking that? So did you have to wear a suit? Am I right in thinking that like all stockbrokers wear suits and have like fat rollies and tiny willies? Is that like
no? I mean, No.
So just the tiny wheel.
Maybe people that actually own their own brokerage firms. Maybe. What was the one you did the other day? Something about there was something there about dicks as well.
Oh man, this is fun. Like we should keep this in as well. So I shared on it. This is some tangent. I shared on Instagram.
Got to YouTube and we're about to get cancelled.
It was something like.
I saw what it was. You were saying the guy somebody dated twins. And one was called Alexandra. And the other one who painted the name. But how do you tell them apart?
How do you tell them apart?
One's got blue nail varnish, the other one's got a penis.
And Bob, he goes, Alex used to paint her nails, and Bob had a cock.
I once dated a girl with a twin. People asked me how I could tell them apart. Lisa painted her fingernails purple, and Bob had a cock.
Naval humour. I don't know, man. It's going.
I mean, that's fucking funny, me.
If you have your own brokerage firm, like people in movies like The Big Short and Wolf of Wall Street,
I rate that film. I think The Big Short's class.
It's a great film, yeah. And it does a good job of explaining the financial crisis to people that don't really understand it, because it is complex. But those types of people probably. Or if you've seen The Big Short, you'll notice that he's actually completely outside that stereotype. I forget his name now. But
Michael Murray.
Is that it? Yeah, and he listens to like heavy metal music, and he's like air drumming and stuff while he's.
That's like you, innit?
But I think if I had my own firm, that is how I would be. But I would never have my own stock brokerage firm because I don't know enough about how to make money. I know a little bit about it, but the long and short of it is it's not if you work, especially if you work for a private company like a TD Warehouse or somewhere like that, maybe it's a smidge more superficially glamorous. But if you work for a high street bank stockbroking department, it's not glamorous. You've got maybe a handful of dealers who will perform the actual act of trading when you need to manually negotiate a trade or something, and they might think they flash like fancy dans. They come in with a watch. They drive, I don't know, an Audi because they can't quite afford like a Bentley. But by and large, nice. The world's moved on, I think, from that kind of Warren Buffett style thing.
I'm disappointed to hear that. The picture in my head was, remember when we shot the garlic bread video and you were sat across from Mrs. Beard in your suit? I kind of expected you to be at work looking like that in your suit, but with like a...
No, in fact, I used to make a point of looking within the dress code, looking as dishevelled as possible. I remember one Christmas, the Christmas Eve one time, because the where I work, they used to have a gym. It was a crap gym, but I remember I'm thinking, Christmas is coming up. I want to train this morning before I work, and like just training too long, losing track of time. So then like running upstairs in my wife beater through this office full of like hundreds of people. But I was shredded back then.
Shredded with hairy shoulders. I'm like, what's going on?
Still got hairy shoulders now.
Who's brought this guy in? Well, what's the worst trade you ever saw go down? Did you ever see somebody like lose the pants and then some?
Yeah, I've saw a lot.
Look at his work on his face.
Well, no, because it is. I don't want to say it's funny because you never want to see people lose lots of money. Because typically people that do lose a lot of money are people that usually can't afford to lose a lot of money, if that makes sense.
Oh, like it's the betting. It's not like a calculated trade or like what they can afford to lose.
Yeah, because I think often people, again to quote Wolf of Wall Street, nobody knows if a stock's going to go up, down, sideways, right? That's what Matthew McConaughey says before he starts talking about how many times a day you masturbate and going like this. Those are rookie numbers. That's a good impression. That's going to be us when we go down to London next week after we've had a few G&T.
I'm well excited to go down to London.
Oh, yeah, well, that makes one of us. Anyway, so I see. Over the years, I've seen a few. I'm probably going to get. I could get. Maybe not arrested, but you have to sign like a non-disclosure thing, don't you? When you. But anyway, I don't give a fuck. I remember one that always sticks with me is I can't remember the name of the stock. I know it was like an oil mine. Sorry, not an oil, a gold mining company. So a lot of big. If you want to make like a big win, right, on the stock exchange, it'll normally be. No, this is not a tip. This is, if anything, it's a tip not to try and do it.
I thought we were going to make some money then.
But some people invest in. I mentioned the AIM market right earlier on, which is
AIM market.
AIM, alternative investment market. So companies that aren't big enough or don't meet all the criteria to be listed on the FTSE, right?
Yep.
Like big blue chip companies like, I don't know, Barclays, BAE Systems, Rolls-Royce, whatever it might be. Those are they have wide spreads, right? Sell and buy price, which are different. And the price is typically more volatile because you're chancing it, right? If you invest in a company which is small, and especially if it's a mining company, they're only successful if they hit gold, or if it's like, I used to get a lot of people investing in oil drilling companies, because it's like if they hit oil, then this is as simple as usually if they hit oil on a drill, then the share price is going to rocket, right? So you're going to make big coin. Whereas if you invest in Barclays, Lloyd's, something like that, then you may maybe make gradual gains, right? So that's what, when you go see a financial advisor, they're going to tell you to invest in stable stocks, big companies, banks, because over a long period of time, you're going to make money. But if you want to, you get a lot of people trying to gamble on these AIM companies, right? On the proviso that maybe their mate down the pub had told them X, Y, Z.
Love that, yeah. It's like horses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my granddad's uncle's brother's son's got, feeds the horse on that race team, mate. Put 20 quid on
Why
it.
are they scouts?
I can just imagine like Mike doing it.
Yeah, Mike could do it. R.I.P. Mike. But yeah, but I remember one, and I felt so bad because it was the circumstances of it. I don't remember what company it was. It was I know it was a gold mining company, so it could have been like Oxus Gold. I don't even know if they still exist. I'm just trying to pluck names of companies out. There's another one called Central Rand Gold. It could have been that. I don't remember, but this dude, and this was when I was actually placing trades. So before I was actually managing teams of people, I was just a runt on the phone, and I'd be placing trades for people. And I'm calling at like market closes at 4:30, right? And I'm calling at like, I want to say 23 minutes past 4, right? And so you got to wang them through security, what's your date of birth, what's this and that, but I'm reasonably efficient at what I'm doing. So I get him through security, and he's like, I want to put 80,000 quid into one of this gold company, a gold mining company or precious metals mining company. So it's maybe when I place this trade, it's maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes before the market closes. And he's telling me that, I remember him saying to me, he's an oldish bloke, and he's like, yeah, little birdie told me that this share price is gonna go through the roof tomorrow. So get this trade done, Adam, get it done. And I'm like, all right, mate. He's like, yeah. Well, as long as the wife doesn't find out, it's not like my life savings. This, but yeah, I'm like, okay, all right. So you get a deal referral for anything over. You have to fill out a form for anything over like 50 grand or something like that. It used to be that anyway. So I get it done, and it's literally about 29 minutes. The market is literally about to close. Yeah. Place is trade from. There's your deal confirmation. So, have a good day. And the next day, just out of interest, because it was a big trade, I'll look at what's happening with the stock, and it's lost, like, I can't remember what had happened specifically, but something had gone wrong with this day gold. They'd not found gold or whatever it was, and it had lost like 80% of its value, or maybe even more, 80-90% overnight. So what he'd invested 80,000 quid, and it was now worth like 8 grand.
Shit.
Overnight. So if he had got through to somebody on the phone, somebody placing trades who was not as efficient as me, he would have still have £80,000. And I remember thinking the next day, that's mad. It's like, butterfly effect thing.
Yeah.
Like if you got, because I was like, by that point, good at my job, right? Yeah. So it was kind of autonomous almost. Like it was like, you're robotic, you get people through a bang, it's done. Yeah. If you got somebody new or somebody who just kind of talking a bit, then they wouldn't have got it done, and he would have saved himself 72,000 quid, I remember just thinking the next day, how was he going to explain that to his wife? You know what I mean? Like, it's not their life savings. If what he's told me is true, but that was the one that sticks with me most. Because I remember just thinking
£72,000 on a punt.
Something like that. It might have even been more, because those stocks can just shift so quickly, like up and down,
Did you hear about, on that topic, did you hear about that cryptocurrency that went like bang the other week? So again, I don't know much about it. Probably should get Jimmy Hill or Mike Win it back, but there were a cryptocurrency called Luna. Apparently KSI, the Sidemen dude, he put £2.8 million into Luna like 2 weeks ago, because they said it was, people are going to know more about this than I got a fucking clue, but like it was supposed to be like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum, which they consider like the stable ones. It's like if they move, then the rest move. This one went from whatever it was worth to zero. So people would put, like, it wasn't like it went down 90%. It went from, let's say it were $1,000 a coin to $0. It went to nothing. So people lost everything. Like, it's been all over the news.
That's why I can't entertain crypto. I know there's a way to do it and do it right. Like we were talking to Jimmy Hill and whatnot. Thanks for the refill of Breaking Beans, by the way. Available right now. Because there's no underlying... there's something underlying there which creates the value, right? But with a stock, there is an underlying asset and an activity that you can not necessarily predict. But I know that if there used to be oil companies all the time who would put on this RNS feed to be like, right, we found potential for oil here, right? And then you'd be thinking, right, so the risk is if it's BS and they don't find oil, then the price is going to go down. So there's something tangible you can make a decision based on.
Yeah.
And if it's a more stable stock like a bank, okay, if they get a bunch of these fines for doing X, Y, Z, the stock price is going to go down, investor confidence goes down, etc. But with crypto, it's like, you know, it's like McConaughey says, it's fugazi. It's like
Fugazi.
Yeah, it's not. There's nothing tangible about it, so you can't. It's just a guess. So okay, I guess KSI can probably afford to lose £3 million. But a lot of people
Can
are
anybody
gonna,
afford to lose £3 million?
well, he probably can,
Yeah,
right? I don't
fair
know.
one,
Didn't we
yeah.
see his car in London or something? Anyway. But most people that are investing in crypto now are people that have no business investing in it because they're trying to get that, like, I want to put in £500 and make £5 million. It's so rare that's going to happen.
As we said on the mic when it part 2, we said about like the pump, like people like Jake Paul and then pumping the stock, like pumping the coin,
Pump and dump.
and then selling it before it's even. So like everyone's left holding the bag. But can you imagine it going from like people have lost the house, people have lost everything because they've gone all in on this one coin and it's disappeared. How that's fucking terrifying.
Well, you should know better than to get involved in it. Not that I don't have sympathy, but I mean, don't get involved with stuff. I mean, it's even risky getting involved in stocks. Are risky, you know.
Oh yeah,
because like, you invest something and then it could be if you have cash. Not that this is not me telling you just keep cash under your mattress or even in your bank, but that's never going to change. The value of it will change relative to inflation.
Yeah.
But the amount of cash you have will not change, right? If you have a stock, it could vastly change, and the hope is that it goes up, but it's not. It's never a guarantee. So you would see that every day, though. I would see that all the time. People losing bags of money, people making bags of money.
It's men's. It's like a different world, isn't it? Like, yeah, I can't even imagine seeing that going down every day. Well, obviously, if that's the worst trade or one of the worst trades, like, what's the best trade you've seen? Like, have you seen somebody buy the? Oh, one question on that previous thing though. You said that there was like a note that said, "Oh, we might have seen remnants of gold or oil or some shit." Like, who dictates what? Is that like a legal?
I don't know. I don't know what
statement.
I don't know what the regulatory. I think if you made a false statement, which could be proven, then you'd probably be investigated, right?
Right. Okay.
What the companies will always post things like not always, but like the opening the market or what they're up to. So drilling companies and whatever would say, "Oh, this is where we're drilling right now in this part of the world," and we found they do like analysis of the sand, you know. So there's a good chance we're going to find oil here, or you know, I imagine if it's like a mine, so we've analysed the rock and there's a good chance we're going to find gold, stuff like that. I'm using these as examples because they're a bit more tangible than someone in tertiary industry, you know, who maybe, I don't know, they sell holidays or
sell coffee
or insurance or coffee, yeah. They're regulated, but I don't know how strongly. A lot of AIM companies, like I look at for a laugh, you know, that I used to remember of like the bust now, you know, but it's not really a surprise.
So back to my next question then. What was the best trade you've seen go down?
I don't know about best because you couldn't really, or you weren't supposed to, if you placed a trade for somebody, then just access their account the next day to say how it went down. You know, you could, but you'd be like monitored and stuff. But I know that the best trade I did, which it's not like impressive or anything. The ratio of return was quite impressive, but I bought, you know, Thornton's, the chocolate company?
Yeah.
Had to be a food. But yeah, I bought, there was a point in time, I don't know when it was now, but because Thornton's used to be like a stalwart British brand, right? Dependable, like your Marks and Spencers or something like that, different companies, but you know, like one of those things that you just rely upon. It's been around for ages, and they were just like wildly mismanaged, which is why you never see Thornton shops anymore. They just sell out of other shops, don't they?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I saw like Thornton's going down, and it tanked. I think it was at lowest. It was like 20p a share or something, and it had been at maybe £2 a share at some point, or maybe even higher than that. And I remember thinking, my gran used to work for Thornton's as well. So I had some kind of affinity, and I saw him go down like 22p. I thought, I'm just going to put like £200 in.
Yeah.
Because I know my thought was they're going to get bought out. Tesco will buy them out, or Asda will buy them out, or somebody will buy them out. And that will then positively affect. I don't think it's going to go much lower than it is right now. And that's still, I don't know how much it's worth now. It's still in my account. But it won't be, I mean, it's only £200.
So you've left it just in the you've not cashed it out. It's just,
no, it's just still in there.
Still bouncing.
But it's, I know that I think they're about £1.50 a share or something.
Oh, wow.
So you buy them at 20p. If I had put in 10 grand at that, I'd have made good money. And that was I'm not trying to tell you that I know a lot about market movements and whatnot. I don't, because if I did, I'd be super rich.
Yeah.
But that was one assessment I thought, it's a well-known brand. It's obviously going to be bought out. There's a risk it wouldn't have been, and it could have just gone, bust. and I lost all my money, but I could afford to lose 200 quid, you know?
Yeah.
The people that make the most money from the stock exchange are people that can afford to lose lots of money. So if you're rich enough to be able to lose 20 grand and you're not bat an eyelid, you could potentially imagine if you put 20 grand in at 20p, it's now worth £1.50.
Wow, yeah.
You know, so that's what it's all about. But like I said, that's not, although that is kind of on the surface superficially interesting, it's all about making money, which never to me meant anything.
Nah, at least that one's still, that's probably worth 1,500 quid now, isn't it? Roughly.
Something like that. I think it's the only thing I've got in there. I keep meaning to
just cash it out.
Because I don't know like all my passwords to access the accounts and whatnot. When I left, I didn't want to get involved with it.
That life's
just gone. It's in the back of my mind. That's why you keep telling me like, oh, what you investing in? I'm like, fuck all, nothing, man. Like, when Jimmy Hill came in, I'm like, I don't want to hear about investing. But
well, I did a similar trade because of Mike Winnett and Ian and their team, and they were like, oh, this coin again, one of those coins.
You love your crypto, don't you?
Yeah, well, I do at all. So they were like, get this Phantom coin, and again, it was like fucking 25p or 30p for a coin, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll stick 200 quid on it, and it went up to. I think it went up to like 50 or 60p. So it went from £200 to like £1,200. And I've sat on it. And now it's like fucking 15 pence or something. So because all the rest of it's crashed, it's just, so I will just have to ride it out.
That's the other art to it as well, isn't it? When do you know when
it's enough?
Yeah. A lot of people, like, that's a big thing people used to do is you know, when you get to a certain point, you cash it out. But if you think, maybe it's going to do, but maybe you put a bit more back in, you know, so you've crystallized your, the amount that you've earned. But then you put, I'll put like 400 back in case it goes up even further.
I'm still with you on like, I'm not a massive investor in anything because I don't understand it all and it's too scary. Plus I work full time, so I'd rather just try and make money than, you know, like make sure I keep the fucking lights on at this place. The worry about
it's just about managing that right
day trading. Luckily it's summer now, so it's actually too warm.
That's why I'm wearing a t-shirt, yeah. This is why I'm wearing my Baby Gap t-shirt.
Again, people somebody said like, oh, your little loft room or something, or comments on Facebook. Yeah, we are in a loft, but it's freezing through winter and it's too warm through summer, so it's currently too warm.
It looks nice though.
It does look
festive year round.
It does look nice. So another question I had was, did you ever work with celebrities? I assume you're probably not allowed to talk about it, but did you ever work with celebrities? Because they've got money, haven't they?
I was never important enough to quote work. I saw some celebrity trading accounts, which I probably shouldn't talk about, but yeah, I remember the one person I spoke to, and I was like, I thought it was funny. Nobody will know him, but there was a goalkeeper used to play for Leeds United called Mark Beanie, and I remember talking to him one day. It said this, sometimes this is what kind of makes me paranoid. But if I ever have to call the bank, because I think it's somebody working there might recognize that name or whatever and Google it. And I thought that's cool. I'm speaking to Mark Beanie, reserve keeper for Leeds United back in whenever it was, because it said his occupation was athlete.
Yeah,
you know,
the same as yours then.
Well, yeah. And some more famous ones, but I don't really want to. I think I might get in the hot water if I start mentioning people like what was in their trading accounts. But I will say that of all the people I spoke to, most of whom were retired athletes that were considered famous.
Yeah.
None of them had particularly impressive portfolios.
Oh, right, okay.
So they need to get better advisors, I think.
So you said that you were people's bosses.
Yeah, bosses, plural.
Or
I was just their boss. The boss of multiple people, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know, mate. I'm just a monkey that sits in front of a microphone. And I also recall you once saying that you threw a chair at someone. So I'm just wondering
I didn't throw it at
I'm wondering
somebody.
where this, like, if you're the boss of someone, at what point it becomes acceptable to throw a chair at someone.
No, you're making making me out to be a tyrant. I didn't throw a chair at anyone. I did throw a chair, which I know sounds a bit like, if any of my like old work colleagues that listen to this now, they'll be like, I remember that time. That was just because I was so. There was a point to get serious for a second, to get philosophical. I think people, when I say, you know, thanks to people for watching my videos, I'll be like, you don't realize how much it means to me. I don't think people know how much it does mean to me, because I used to hate that job so much that I would go into work in the morning, like not on the verge of tears, but like so
like demoralized.
So yeah, demoralized, but almost worse than that. And it used to escalate to the point that I'm so glad I started doing what I did, and it got to the point that it did when it did, because I wouldn't have been there now regardless, because I would have either quit, got sacked, because it got to a point when I'm not. People see my videos and stuff, right? I'm not hot tempered or anything, you know. Like I'm not certainly not violent, but I got to a point one stage where I think I'd just been talking to some bloke who was complaining about losing money, probably, which was 90% of what it was. And I remember getting up, and there's like a long office, and I remember, you know, like those office chairs, because the bank I worked for was a cheap bank. I remember just grabbing it by the back and just hoying it down the thing, like off the floor, and then like being taken off somewhere. I had like a bit of a talking to, but I just didn't give a shit. I don't think by that point, like I hated it so much. I hated like being involved in this world where all people care about is money at the expense of everything else. So people would like, you know, you'd be speaking to somebody on the phone, they'd be complaining about you'd see their account, they made 400 grand in a year from trades or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'd be complaining that they've been charged too much commission, 20 quid commission instead of, you know, they called it X amount of time that day, or they wanted to do a trade online, which is cheaper commission, but they couldn't do it online for X, Y, Z. I want this commission. And you'd be thinking, you made 400 grand in a year, and you're talking to me about 10 quid, you piece of shit. You know what I mean? And like that over time, that it's like attrition, right? It weighs you down, and you think this ain't what I want to do with my life. And that just got the better of me one day. And it was an inanimate object that I threw. And I didn't throw it at anyone. I just threw it because I was mad.
I get that. I think there's probably something inspirational within that story there to say that you've got out of the position that you were in. No, but I think a lot of people can relate to what you just said about, you know, driving to a place of work that you don't particularly enjoy, or, you know, like it's that attrition every day, and it just like wearing you down, and it's hard. You get into ruts.
You're not meant to do it, are you? It's not natural. I used to say to Lynn's, like back when we were. Because that's one thing I got out working there. I met Mrs. Beard, right? So there's one positive, I think. But I think I used to say it like I think I've been born in the wrong century. I would rather be like a nomad. You know, you're born and you farm and whatever you live off what you grow. I'd probably be useless because I'm terrible outdoors. But you know, I hate this idea of you going into an office with this fucking horrible artificial light and. You sat at a desk all day talking to people about money. What kind of life is that? You know what I mean? But you get bogged down, don't you, by the fact that you've got to pay your bills. You've got a car to pay for. You've got a family. Well, not of kids, but you know you got stuff to take care of, haven't you? Like, so you don't want to take that jump and leave. You know.
I remember that transition from like leaving like high school to then like real life, and it was like a massive reality check. Like nothing really prepares you for the responsibilities of life, you know. I was very, very lucky that I chose to go to sea. I went to sea for like 8 years. So like in that process, there was so much stability with sort of finances. So I got paid to go away. I also got fed, watered. Like, so I was kind of...
Watered? What, you like an animal?
Yeah.
He put you in like a room and just hose you down?
Yeah, everything's covered in it. So like food and accommodation, travel, everything's covered. So I was very lucky to transition through my adulting life in that space. Whereas like I remember when I first actually left high school and I went and worked at a job for a year, and I remember leaving high school where I was with my mates and I was enjoying it, to then going to a job, and I remember driving from like where I lived to another town in winter to work as like an engineer's assistant, you know, and I used to have to jet wash like 40 trucks down and in the fucking winter. So I'd drive in the dark. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd drive to work in the dark, freezing, and I'd have to stand outside like hoodie on, overalls, jet washing these fucking forklift trucks down in a warehouse that were freezing. I'd be all there under artificial lights all day, and then I'd drive home. And I remember thinking, like, is this life now? Like, is this what adult life is?
Yeah.
And I was still living at home, and there's no chance that I moved out, because it's like, how the fuck can you afford to move out?
Yeah, it's bad enough. Yeah, back then, 10 years ago, whatever it is.
So
I don't know how people do it now.
I can't imagine what it's like now. So I remember at that point, that's when I said I've got to do something.
Yeah,
like drastically different, and that's when I signed up to go away, and it was the best thing I did because I got to travel the world, meet people, got a trade. Like it were amazing.
Enjoyed a lot of those brothels, didn't you? When you what do they call it? When you birthed or you anchored at the coast.
Like a girl in every port, and like the old sea shanties.
I'm joking. I remember that's why I did my, I have like a whatever it is now, reps level 3 personal trainer qualification thing. Because I did that while I was there, because that was going to be my out. Because like the only thing I gave a shit about when I was at work, outside of work, was I just loved training, right? And like I found it really interesting. So I was thinking, I'll leave this job when I qualify. I'll leave this job and I'll go and I'll work minimum wage in a gym somewhere, as like a PT.
Yeah,
I'd rather do that. Because I'll be happier than talking to rich knobheads all day.
I think I guess the nugget of gold we've got to try and pull from this is when you are, if you are in that position and you are working in a job, a 9-to-5 job, there's so much bullshit online, and like Instagram accounts like Entrepreneurs Doses or Entrepreneur Daily, where they're like, work 9-to-5 for someone else and 5-to-9 for yourself. And it's very, very difficult being self-employed. Like that comes with its own problems because it's hauled on you. But if you can on an evening or a weekend try and upskill yourself in any capacity that could earn, like as a PT or learn videography or whatever you're interested in, there will be a career option there. And there's so much stuff on YouTube now to learn. Like you can learn everything online. So I think worst time ever in as I've known it as an adult, because we're going into potentially a recession and whatnot, but also the best time for you to upskill yourself because it's all accessible online. So I guess that's the silver lining.
Is that you pulling out a silver lining there?
I'm trying because if not, we're just talking about how shit it will working for someone.
I did warn you that like I had nothing positive to say about this working for the bank.
You said there might have been some funny stories of sacking people though. You've had to sack people.
I mean, it's never nobody. I did have to way more people than I ever actually would want to sack. Could you imagine me sacking somebody, firing if anyone's listening from America?
No. I can't imagine you sat across from me going, you're underperformed today, Josh. So the people, I can imagine you just going, the people above me said, you're out. Sorry, mate.
No, I'd never blame it. No, I'd never blame it on anyone.
All right, okay.
I think it called me the Grim Reaper at one point because I fired about like 7 people in a year. And I never used to, I'm not laughing about it in the sense that I certainly didn't enjoy it. You don't want to that's a job, right? Somebody might need to live. But there's a point when if your job is to be somebody's boss and they're not contributing, and that goes on for a long period of time, you have to give them the boot, you know. And but yeah, like it was almost like performative as well, because like the real me is like you see me on videos, right, or like you see me now, right, predominantly. I have bad days, right, but you almost have to be like kind of not a character, but you have to leave your body in some way in order to, you know, to
perform an act.
Because like I'm you know me, I'm not an aggressive, I'm not a confrontational person unless I think people are taking the piss with me, or they're train conductors. No, but yeah, I remember. I will tell. It's not a funny story. It's funny because he was sacked for a reason, which was, you should never get sacked for this reason. I sacked somebody for sexual misconduct, working at a bank of all places.
Right.
So it was a kid that he must have been like, I'm trying to allow you to picture him. He was like 5'2".
Same as you.
Probably. Yeah. Same. No, he made me look like a giant, right? And he was a nice kid, right? But really young. And he frequently made mistakes. And it's a complex job, right? It's hard to learn and you get paid peanuts for it, right?
That's interesting. That will give me my next question.
At the bottom rung, you paid fuck all for it, right? And so obviously you're the manager, right? The boss, you got to help him, like, take you under my wing. That was it. Like the whole carrot and stick thing. Like, you did that wrong, but like, I'd never be like a fire and brimstone kind of guy. Like, oh, you fucked up. It's only money, right? Just get it right next time. But he had made so many mistakes at this point, despite help, that he was borderline anyway, right? He was like, you trying to impress upon him every time you have a private meeting with him, like hanging by a thread here, mate. And then that one day, one of the girls in my team, she came up to me, she's like, I don't want to get you in trouble, Adam. You know, I'm not this kind of person to make a fuss or whatever. But this kid keeps winking at me, and I'm like, who keeps winking at you? And she tells me who it is, and I'm like, winking? And I'm thinking, well, he doesn't have a tick. Or I've not noticed any kind of facial tick. And I said, all right. I said, well, I'll keep my eye on it. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. No big deal. And then as I investigated, it turned out like he'd been saying really weird, kind of inappropriate stuff to women like at work. And so I take him aside. I'm like, look, I've had a few complaints from, because this has been the first person that came to speak to me about it. And then a couple of other people did. And people from other areas would be like, this kid keeps winking at me and it's making me feel uncomfortable. I'm like, right, do people still wink? It's not like 1930s. It's like, what's
wolf whistling?
Do you think you are Clark Gable or something? Who winks? Anyway, so yeah, it became a problem. So I had a little talk with him. I said, like, look, you're at work, mate. We're not in the club. It's not Friday night, right? This ain't where you pick up women. And I said, I realised it's by this point I was dating Mrs. Beard, so I realised it's a bit hypocritical coming from me. But I did the whole, all the groundwork was done, kind of outside work, or most of it. So I said, just stop doing it. I said, you're already hanging by a thread. mate, I'm like, just stop it, right?
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing in the world to do is not wink at people if you don't have some kind of facial tick, right? Just stop doing it. Yeah, are we all good? Don't make a problem for me. I won't make a problem for you. Anyway, it goes on, and I remember one night the same kid, I had to, I used to work the late shift to cover the the overseas markets, so like the US market, because the hours of operation are different. One night was a quiet night, and I remember him sat there rapping. He was like rapping like California Love or something. He was singing the rap, and I'm like, shut up. Like, what? This is the point where I'm like, why are you like? It's a quiet office. Why people just talking about what they're doing this weekend?
They're dropping a beat in the corner.
Why are you? Why are you beatboxing and rapping along to like? Admittedly, a good as far as rap songs go, a good one. But stop it. And he'd be like, eh. Anyway, I remember it got to the point where it continued. So I had to have like an official meeting with HR reps and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I tell this woman what he's been up to and stuff. And we're sat in this meeting. I'm like, this is last chance saloon, right? This is it. You're gone after this. And he says to me in front of this woman, I'm like, stop winking at women. Why are you doing this? It's not the place for it. I've told you not to do it. Stop it. Stop it. And he just goes to me. He's like, yeah, but you know what it's like, don't you, Adam? This is in a meeting where he's about to get the sack. And I'm like,
it's like, you get it, don't you, top shagger?
I'm like, no, mate. I said, if I was going to, I didn't say this in the meeting, but I'm thinking, like, if I was going to try and pick up a girl, the last thing I'm going to do is go, like what? Anyway,
you're like a shit pirate.
By this point, the rep that's in with us sees this behaviour, and yeah, but after that, it was like, nah, he's not getting the picture. He's got to get the boot. So yeah, I ended up having to sack the poor kid. And I remember like when he left, he was like, "Oh, my mum's gonna be so disappointed." But I gave you every opportunity. The only thing you had to do was not make predatory sexual advances upon women. Like, it's not that hard, But I remember that one. And I also remember one where I thought I was going to get knocked out. I thought I was going to get chinned.
Yeah?
By this absolute unit of a guy who must have been like 6'8" or something.
6'8"?
It was, no, mate, I'm being serious. Like, it was huge. Even for, taking aside the fact that you think I'm a manlet, he was like a...
Fucking Thor.
He was a big dude, right? And I had to sack him because, like, there's a dress policy, right? A dress code when you go to work, almost anywhere, right? And I remember him, long story short, he had worn this cap with like a swear word on it. You just don't do it, do you? You know what I mean? Like if you're an adult, you just don't do that in a place of work. Because they used to have a dress down day on Fridays.
Yeah.
So
that's like morale or something. Like,
yeah, just because, I mean, you're very rarely customer facing. You're always speaking to people on the phone, right? So they would have like a dress down day on a Friday. People could go uncomfortable. But again, you can't come in with like the mankini from Borat.
Mankini.
Great minds. And he had worn this hat with like a swear word on it. So I just give him, I'm like, lad, that's the daftest thing. You're getting a disciplinary for wearing a hat that says like fuck on it. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Anyway, so I said, just don't do it again. Because he was, to his credit, he put a lot of effort in, and he had good rapport with people, and he was broadly speaking professional. And then one day I got into work and somebody calls me to say, Adam, somebody's been spotted wearing like, it was like a pro drug use t-shirt, right? So it didn't say like sniff coke on it, but it basically said something similar. And somebody, I think it was maybe security or something that like managed people going into the building, and it had come around to me, they said, oh, this person's wearing this t-shirt. And I instantly thought, I know it's this kid. Sure enough, it turns out to be him. So I've got to sack him basically for 2. But I remember taking him into this room and saying, you're getting a sack basically. But I took in this guy called Dave with me, who's tall. He's tall, right? Normal size. He's about your size, 6'2" or something.
Yeah.
And a really nice guy. And I took him in just because you had to do that by policy, right?
And
if you were going to fire someone. And he was tall. No, but so we get in there, and I'm like, I'm just telling you, you've been sacked. It's not like a two-way street. You've broke the rules twice. You know why. And he tries arguing with me and stuff. I said, look, it's not. I'm not. This isn't a conversation. I'm telling you that you've got to leave now.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the long and short of it.
That's savage. That's so brutal.
I know. And I remember the worst part was like, so he was sat down, and I was like on the edge of a table thing, this like little desk, just kind of leaning on it. And he was sat down in a chair, and I remember him just going and standing up really aggressively, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna get knocked the fuck out of here. It's just gonna put me. I don't think I'm glad Dave's here, because like at least there are 2 of us. But Dave's an oldish bloke, right? Well, he was like 50 maybe.
Yeah.
maybe not quite that bad. I don't know, but and he took a couple of steps forward, and I'm thinking, oh man, it's not worth it. I don't get paid enough for this. But then I think he thought better of it, and he cried a bit, which made me feel bad. But yeah, because I'd never take delight in sacking anyone. But like if you break the rules and you do something that daft.
Poor giant Thor. I thought we were going to like grab you by the neck,
grab
you by your beard.
I think he was thinking about it for the way he stood up. I think he was getting ready to throw some punches, but I would have just been out of there.
Yeah.
But I didn't enjoy sacking people, but unfortunately, it comes with a job when you're somebody's boss.
Yeah, that's some rock and roll lifestyle. To transition from that to what you're doing, I think you've done pretty well. What was the turning point then? And I'm sure I've touched on it before, but at what point, or like at what subscriber count did you go, fuck this, I'm out, I can make a right go of this YouTube stuff?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what sub count it was, but I know I was making more from YouTube than I was. It was very slightly than my regular job.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of felt like I need to go, right? I'm going. I knew at that point in time, either I'm going or I'm being sacked or something, because I was so sick of it, and my attitude was so anti-establishment. Within the framework of the bank, you've got to be a team player and stuff. And I used to always speak my mind to people above me and whatnot, and I didn't give a shit about like if I got sacked or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a point where I thought, if I'm ever going to do it, it's now, right? Because I've now got enough money that it's covering basically what I would have earned in this job. So even if it's the case that I leave and I get another job, I've got enough sustenance right now financially to survive, and pay my bills and whatnot. Because Lindsay and I just bought a house when this happened. But I always remember as well, when we had Mike on and he said like he had that turning point when somebody said they got a tractor or whatever, lawnmower if they for 50 years service.
Yeah.
I remember and I didn't like many of the bosses there, but there were a few. One in particular I despised quite intensely, and I don't dislike many people naturally. Said to me like you would have these appraisals, right, where they would just tell you what you're doing wrong and never accept what you're doing right,
Yeah.
And I remember saying to me, what's your life dream? And I'm like, what does it matter to you? What my dream in life? I don't have a dream in life. That's like such a fairy tale thing to say. I want to, I want to be financially stable and enjoy myself at work, which I don't now. And her saying to me, my life's dream is to pay off my mortgage by the age of 40. And I remember thinking, that's your life. You get a life. Your dream in life is to pay off a debt. And I remember thinking that was a bit of a turning point for me, thinking I'm not getting stuck here, And so even if it was just doing something creative, because I'd do anything like that's creative and makes me happy and content for as little as I need financially, So that was the point where I just thought, right, I'm done. And luckily, fortunately, I'd started the YouTube thing as like a hobby, and by that point, enough people were watching that it could just about pay my bills. And I thought, right, this is a chance to jump, so I jumped.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty amazing little tale. That I've actually really enjoyed that. George, what do you reckon? Are you inspired?
Yeah.
It is honestly, that's some story that.
Everyone's got like a bit of a backstory. We'll get into yours. Yours is probably more exciting, given that you were at sea being bombed and stuff. But it's not, I don't want to say, don't take away from this. Oh, Adam threw a chair down an office at somebody. I didn't throw it at somebody, and it's not like that was just like in the pressure cooker atmosphere. That was the turning point, which was a good thing because that kind of led to what I do now.
I get it. I think I think there are points in your life where you hit a peak and it's like pivotal. It's a bit like a midlife crisis or like a quarter life crisis. I firsthand know the experience of what that feels like, where I'm like at a pivotal point going, I cannot continue on this path. I've got to do something. It's a long life, isn't it, to do something you don't. I think very few people actually do a job they truly love to do. Yeah,
they might do. Plenty of people do jobs they're good at.
Yeah.
But I think there are very few people in life that get the opportunity to do a job they really enjoy. Because you're more like, we've said this before, you're more likely to work. Like I work hard. I know people might laugh at that, but I work hard at what I do.
Yeah.
Way more hours now than I did in the last job. But it's work, but it's work that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And very few people actually get the opportunity to do that. They just have to pay their bills. And because of, especially now with the economic climate the way it is, even if you get stuck in something, it's such a scary thing to try and jump to something else. You know,
Absolutely,
you can't just like Mike said when he was talking about quitting his job when he had what, $3,000 or something
like that. Yeah, a couple of grand, wasn't it?
So, but I mean, yeah, don't let fear stop you from. I don't want to say anything cheesily inspirational, but don't let fear stop you from doing something that might make you happier than what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I think and also that there will be if you've got like a passion for something or you feel like you need to make a change, you will come to that pivotal point where the necessity to take that jump far exceeds the consequences, that may come from it. Like I can definitively recall that. And then you can mitigate any risks thereafter by... You
can always get another job, can't you?
Yeah, like, that's it. And also not like getting yourself debted up to eyeballs on getting a car on the tick to impress somebody that you don't really like. Do you know what I mean? So, shit like that, like people do it, like, they get in debt for material shit that they don't actually...
This has kind of turned into like a Tony Robbins TED Talk at the end. Like we're doing like an inspirational talk.
Like the worst inspirational speakers.
Is that all you want to ask me about my
yeah, mate, that's
job?
it.
I didn't get to... There was a story, one time we found a nugget of poo in the middle of the office. Yeah, it's not really a story, but I didn't get to tell that story.
Tell us, man. Like, you can't leave us on a cliffhanger.
No more poo stories.
Oh, yeah, well, on next week's episode, you will actually hear some.
We'll get to that at a different time. Yeah, we called it Poo-gate at work. We were all investigating because there was a nugget of human. Everyone thought it was dog poo at first.
An actual Malteser,
but it wasn't.
How did you know the difference between dog poo and a human poo?
Because if it was dog poo, it wouldn't be fully formed, would it? It was near the toilet. It's obviously somehow fallen down some of these kegs or what. I don't know. They're not wiped properly or something. But yeah, that's about as close as it got to Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, a bit of poo on the dirty protest.
Did they get to the bottom of it then?
No, I don't think nobody found out who it was. But yeah, that was one day at work. That was the most exciting thing. I can remember it. That's how exciting it was. Everyone was trying to figure out like, who had pooed in the office.
Who wanted to pick it up?
I don't know. It certainly wasn't me. I remember somebody sniffing it though, like getting close enough to actually sniff it to figure out. Like, I'm like, can you sniff the difference between dog shit and human shit? But anyway, yeah, that was.
Well, on that,
if any of my old colleagues listen to this now,
we're about to finish that podcast so well with all these nice quotes.
I don't know why did I get into the poo thing? That's
exactly how I want to end it. We started off talking about shit on the first ever podcast, and we can end this one on that.
Go buy some Breaking Beans.
There, that was class. Thank you very much for everybody that's enjoyed that. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.